Hey guys, Jimmy here with Doctrine and Devotion. It's not often that Joe has a great idea, but he finally had one. And answering emails by video is by far one of his best ideas. And so I thought I'd get in on the fun. About a month ago, Joe and I did an episode on advice to small group leaders. And so in it, we mentioned about multiplication, and we received an email from a Lee Callicut from Grace Hill Church in, Pittsboro, North Carolina. And so in it, they said that they enjoyed the video, that it was helpful. I'm really glad that it was an encouragement to you. But they asked more about multiplying. Give us some advice on multiplying our group. And so thought I would give some of my initial thoughts. I do want to say on the front end, this is not my forte. Pastor Pat is our pastor of discipleship at Redeemer Fellowship. If you have questions and you want to go deeper in this, I would suggest reaching out to Pastor Pat. I have not asked him this. I did not ask his permission to put him out there like that, but he'll deal with it. Don't worry about it. He enjoys helping people out. So reach out to Pastor Pat over at Redeemer Fellowship. Tell him the Fofo sent you, and he will hook you up with whatever resources and suggestions that you're looking for. So some of my initial thoughts about multiplying CGs. First, I would say cast vision on the front end. So when Michelle and I began going to Redeemer Fellowship, we attended Pastor Brian's community group out in Aurora. From there, it multiplied to Colson's group in Batavia. And once our group got too big, then Michelle and I multiplied out into our group in St. Charles, where we've been for a couple years now. Now, when we multiplied into our group, actually, even before that, when we multiplied into Colson's group, we cast vision on the front end that as this group gets larger, we're going to multiply again. And then even when my CG started, we told people on the front end, as this group gets larger, we're going to multiply this group. And so the vision, though, is not about having, like, saying, hey, look at our church. We've got 15 or 30 community groups. That's not what it's about. The vision behind multiplying is that you're creating more opportunities for people, for members of your church, for attendees of your church, to experience the same care and love, encouragement, and admonishment that you yourself have received in your CG. So that's the vision behind this. The vision behind multiplying is you're creating more opportunities for more intimate relationships within your church. So that way, as people are possibly on the fringe, they're being brought in, right? Into a deeper relationship with other brothers and sisters in Christ. And as you guys are growing closer together, hopefully, as your CG is supposed to, you're being drawn and you're being pointed into a deeper relationship with Christ. So cast vision on the front end. That means then being open and honest with people, being direct with people about what you guys are going to be, what your group is all about. And that means, like, when you see, hey, we're ready to multiply, don't spring it on people. Don't just say, hey guys, next week we're multiplying, and so and so is going to be leading a group at this location at this time. Who wants to go? Don't spring things on people. Give people an opportunity. I would say give people a few months. They need time to process, because you're going to have to deal with people's concerns head on. Probably the concern I hear most often is I've built these relationships with people. I've built these friendships, and now that if we're no longer part of the same CG, I'm going to lose it, right? We're going to lose that relationship, out of sight, out of mind. And I think this is an overstatement. I'm definitely generalizing here, and I think they're also generalizing. I think there's possibly some people are overreacting, because if it's a relationship that you value, then you're going to be intentional about it anyways, right? If it's a relationship that you desire, then you're going to be putting forth the extra effort. Now, there is truth that's going to change. The relationship's going to change. You're going to go from seeing each other every week to maybe seeing each other every other week, maybe every 3 weeks. Depends on how much effort and intentionality you're willing to put into maintaining that relationship. Just because you're not in the same CG doesn't mean you can't check in on one another. Doesn't mean you can't get together for coffee or go on a double date or call and say, hey man, I wanted to, we were struggling with this. How are things going with that? So you could still maintain that friendship. There's individuals that I'm not in CG with, but I have been in CG with, that I'll still talk to. I regularly try to get together with and connect with, to say, hey man, how are things going in your life? So yeah, you're going to want to address these concerns. Some people have a fear of change. They know the dynamics of the group. They understand their place in the group. They know the flow of the evening, and a new leader is going to change that, right? A new group's going to change that. Everything's going to change. The dynamics are going to change. The night might change. The time might change. Everything. And you're going to have to say, yeah, that's okay. We were, our group that we're currently in is different from the group that we multiplied out of. So you've already, you most likely have experienced that change. And if not, you're going to experience it now. And by God's grace, you're going to experience it again later on. So it's okay with the change. Some people say, well, now we're just, it's like having to start all over again. Well, yeah, I think there's some truth to that, and I think it's good. I think it's good for groups to restart, I guess, to have a fresh start, I guess is probably a better way to say it. No one wants to walk into a movie halfway through, right? No one wants to no one goes to a theater and says, all right, give me, 2 tickets for this movie that's just about done or halfway through, and I'm going to go sit in for the rest. But that's often what we ask people to do when they're joining our CGs. They're joining a film halfway through. They're joining a group that has built some history together, a group that has mourned together, a group that has rejoiced together, a group that has encouraged one another through difficult times, a group that has walked alongside each other during marital issues, during miscarriages, during job losses. I mean, our groups have gone through a lot together. There's a lot of history there, and I love that. I love the intimate relationship that we have with one another. But it's hard for someone else to jump in, right? It's hard for someone else to jump in without that history, right? And so having a fresh start, kind of gives people an opportunity to get in on the ground floor. Now, there's still going to be some history here, right? Because of relationships, whether they were part of a group before, or whether they interact with each other outside of the Sunday morning service. There's still some sort of history together, but there's still that feeling, though. There's still the sense that they are getting in on the ground floor. They're starting fresh with everyone else. Another tip would be identify the next leader as soon as you can. And once you identify that leader, begin to train them, equip them, and give them opportunities to lead. This is something that we've struggled with, my CG personally. We had identified a few guys early on, and then through seasons and issues, just personal issues, just felt like, it's probably not the right time for them. And so we've been struggling to find, okay, who's going to be that next leader? And actually, prayerfully, thankfully, we've been praying about it for a while. And Pastor Pat and I met with someone this week, actually just last night, to say, from my own CG, to say, listen, I think you are going to be the next leader. I think you've got the gifts, and I think it would be good for you to start going to Leadership Lab. It would be good for you to start the training process with Pastor Pat. It would be good for you when you're ready to begin leading CG once a month. And that's really important, that intense training and the opportunities to lead, because that's going to give them confidence. I think probably the thing I hear the most from new leaders or potential new leaders is, I don't know how to do that. And there's a bit of insecurity there. And I get it. I could be insecure as well. And so if it wasn't for the opportunities that other leaders have given me, and then the feedback that they've given me through that process, I don't know if I would have kind of continued on this trajectory that I was in, as other leaders began to see the giftings that God had given me, they began to kind of nurture that. And so that's what you want to do with your CG leaders. You want to give them an opportunity to grow in their confidence. You want to give them an opportunity that you could see them, you can encourage them, tell them what they did right, what they did really well, maybe some things, some not concerns, but hey, this is how you deal with kind of this situation, because groups are going to have situations, right? You're going to have an individual that overtalks. You're going to have an individual that maybe shoots down other people, or an individual that might be insensitive. And so you're going to have to deal with that and train, someone on how to navigate the group well. And so it's not just their confidence, but it's also the group's confidence. That way, they have an opportunity to see the leader. They have an opportunity to get a better understanding of who the leader is and their gifting, so that when it is time to multiply, they're ready. They're ready to go because they've seen them, they've witnessed them, and so then they know what they're getting with them. And so it's a confidence booster for the individual. It's a confidence booster for the group as a whole. And so then once you've identified your leader and you're beginning to see, you know what, it's time, we're getting close to it, then you're going to want to set the date, and I think 2 months is probably good. I think there's part of it. Yeah, I think 2 months is good. I think, I don't know why, it feels like enough time to give people to process. I think it also, this is just personally, I think it also gives people enough time, because I want to give that leader, I don't want to prolong it so long so that the leader loses excitement, right? So once you announce and you wait 6 months, then I think it's like, man, towards the end, it almost feels like senioritis, right? So I think 2 months is good. That way it gives people an opportunity to be in prayer, to say, hey, listen, I think I am going to go join this other group because it's better, it fits my schedule better, maybe on the night or the time, or geographically it's closer to my home or closer to my work, whatever works for you guys. And so you set the date, and you're in prayer, and then and you're inviting people to go this whole time, right? I would love, I hate saying it like this, but I would love if all my group went, right? It's not because I don't love my group. That's not what I'm saying. But I want to see that group flourish. I want to see that new group explode. And so I want to see as many people as possible go with that new group to give it the best shot at continuing to grow. So you want to invite people to go. So you're going to set the date, and then the week beforehand, you're going to get together one last time to just fellowship. You're going to have a party. You're going to fellowship and praise God for what he's done. You're going to pray for the new group. You're going to pray for the old group. You're going to pray for the leaders of the groups. You're going to pray for those individuals that are going to be now part of your CGs, right? Because back to casting vision. Hopefully, now that you are creating more opportunities for others to get involved, that they're going to take that chance, that they're going to get in on this opportunity and join the new CG or the old CG, so that they themselves can enjoy the benefits and blessings that you've enjoyed at CG. We value community groups so much at Redeemer. So we value it so much that it's part of our membership covenant. And questionnaire. We ask, what CG are you a part of, or what CG are you looking to be a part of? We do expect that our members are going to be part of a community group. Now, obviously, there's some instances where people are providentially hindered, and so we work through that. But we expect it so much that quarterly, Pastor Pat reaches out to the CG leaders and gets a roster. And this is because we see CGs as kind of that front line of shepherding. The elders cannot meet with every individual of the church, but in the smaller groups, our CG leaders can get a feel for what's going on, and then they can let us know, hey, so-and-so is struggling. It might be good if you reached out to them. And so then we do. So yeah, you want to, so if you're not involved in a CG, get involved in a CG, get involved in a small group, be a part of the community life of your church. If you don't have a CG program, reach out to Pastor Pat. He's got some resources. It's beneficial. It's vital for your church. Even if you start off with one group, by God's grace, it might grow to 2 and then to 4, and then from then on. So it's really important. Get on it. Find the time to set the program up. It's going to take some effort, but in the long run, it's going to help position you better to shepherd and care for the people that God has entrusted to you.